And then we get into the section of how do you find the right business for you. And again, there are two meanings to the word right business. One meaning of right business is the right business for the times. What's going on in the economy? What's in an uptrend? What's in a downtrend? If you go into a downtrend, it's okay because there are ways to make money in a downtrend. We're going to cover that. But you need to know where the things are going to identify what's that right business for right now. And the other part of it is right for you. Is it within the framework of something that you love? Is it within the framework of something that you're going to be good at? Is it the business that you should be going into that is also right for the times? Right for you and right for the times. Part of this process is doing a self-analysis. We called it the funnel approach. And this is one of the first places in the course where we actually encourage you to do some work, which means that we actually ask you to take out pencil and paper or sit down at your computer and develop a self-analysis. Most of us, right in through our adult lives, never do this. We never really look at ourselves in the mirror and ask, who the heck are we? Where are we coming from? What are my core competencies? What are my native skill sets? What are my experiences? What am I really good at? What is it that is a great resource internally that I have within myself? What kind of resources can I reach out and grab and reach out and touch and garner to help make happen what I want to happen? And then more importantly, what are my weaknesses? Where am I really terrible? What is it that I really can't do? What is it that if I tried to do it, I'd be guaranteed to screw it up? And the beauty of being in a business is that it doesn't matter what you're good at and not good at, because business building is a collaborative and cooperative enterprise. So you just need to know what you're good at, know what your strengths are, know where you're not strong, and then make sure that you support your enterprise in those areas where you're not strong with other people who are. But if you've never done that really, really serious self-analysis, if you've never really taken that good, hard, honest look at yourself in that mirror, then you're destined to wander around in that desert out there for a very long time, because you're going to rely on things that you think you're good at and you're not, and you're going to fail, you're going to trip, and then you're not going to understand why. You're going to say, oh, wow, you know, I thought I did it right, but here I am in this mess. And I'm saying this because we all have a tendency to do it. Being honest with ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of. Not easy for us. So what we do is we give you a path here to do it. We give you a framework in which you can do this for yourself. And so, again, if you did not take this section seriously, if you didn't go through it with that real intent to get into yourself and understand yourself and really know your strengths and weaknesses, then I'm going to encourage you to go back here and redo it, and do it with intensity, do it with passion, because once you understand yourself, once you know who you really are, once you know what you're good at and what you're not good at, and you've been honest with yourself, and then you start to make a plan for how do I now get other people who are strong where I'm not to play with me, to be part of what I'm doing. Now you're on the path to dynamic success. And so you got to do the homework here. You got to get in here and really, really be honest with yourself. Now, all the methods are all here for you. You just follow them step by step, step by step. You'll put all the pieces together. Now, another thing here that I think is really something you want to pay attention to is establishing your business criteria in advance. We teach you how to do it. We're going to show you what this business criteria is going to look like. And again, this is a super important piece of this puzzle, and yet it's one that a lot of people just bypass. It doesn't seem like it's going to be easy, so they defer it. You know, they say, oh, okay, I'll do this, but I'm going to do it later. Wrong approach here. This is a place where you just need to take some time. Take a couple of hours. You block it out. And you say, I'm going to establish in these 2 or 3 hours a criteria for my business. What I want my business to look like when it's what I want it to be. What is it that I want my business to look like? If I'm buying a business, what do I want that business to look like before I buy it? We teach you every technique to accomplish that. When you follow these techniques, you're not only going to know what industry it's in, you're going to know what size it's going to be, how much sales it's going to have, you're going to know how many employees it's going to have, you're going to know where geographically it's going to be located, you're going to want to know how many locations you want to have, you're going to know everything it is. You're going to be able to picture that company in your mind. You're going to have a clear, concise image of it. And it's going to be reduced to writing. You're going to be able to hand that criteria to anybody whose help you want in the finding of that business, in the acquiring of that business, in the building of that business. They're going to be able to see it in writing, and they're going to be able to help you. Whereas if you don't reduce it to writing, if you don't have that clear-cut image of it, then you are going to be floundering around without getting other people to help you, without having a tool through which you can focus the energies of other people to help make your dream happen. And so here again, we know how important this piece is to the process, and that's why we've taken the time here in our program to make sure that there's a process, step by step by step, that will take you through the establishment of that criteria. And again, I can't tell you how important that criteria is. You don't have it. It's so difficult to get other people to help you. I mean, imagine walking into a business broker's office and he says to you, or she says to you, what kind of business you looking for? You know, I don't know, one that makes money. You know, and the very next thing, what are they going to do? They're going to ask you for, well, let me see a copy of your financial statement and how much money do you have to put down, because they get it. You don't know where you're going, and they don't want to waste time with you. And so having that down makes you a professional. It enables you to approach the world out there as a top-notch professional that everybody's going to want to get on your team. Everybody's going to want to support you in that process because you know where you're going, and everybody wants to get on the train that's driven by somebody who knows where they're going. We also get into all of the techniques that are used that have proven successful. And then once you know what it is that you want to find, how do you do that? What are the tools? What are the methods? What are the ways of doing it? How do you get there? How do you execute each of those tools? It's all here. Every aspect of it, every piece of it, how to use direct mail, how to send them, how to develop your letters, how to qualify your sellers. Every piece of it's here. This table of contents is in itself an incredible lesson on what's required. What do you have to do to get your arms around all the pieces and master them? And if you think about this too, you know, getting into business is like a bicycle chain. Okay, if you got a bicycle chain and it's 101 links, and you got 100 good links, and one of them is rusted through, your chain ain't going to work. If you're serious about getting into business, you've undertaken something which is relatively complex. This is not for the average person. The average person is an employee, should be an employee, and they'll be an employee all their life. And why? Because they don't have the scope, the ability to wrap their arms around some degree of complexity. So you've chosen to get into that complexity. And if you don't want to find yourself moving through life and finding different places to fail along the way, then you've got to look at, you've got 101 links to your chain, and none of them can be rusted through. You've got to have an answer for every single link on your chain. And they're all here, all 101 links. They're all in this program. And if you skip any one of them, if you say, oh, that one isn't important, or I already know how to do that, well, maybe you do, but maybe you don't. And until you've gone through these things in excruciating detail, you can't say you know how to do it. You can't say I know better. You can't say I'm different, I don't need that. Because the place where you say that is the place that you will screw it up. And the reason I can tell you that with no reservation is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know who's made our program work, and I know who hasn't. And I've taken the time to find out why do people fail after they've taken our program, and why, when people have taken our program, have they succeeded phenomenally well. So please know that I've come at this with 30 years behind me at this. And I'm telling you that these early pieces of this particular program are foundational. They're part of that base on which you can build, and everything that it takes to make it work is here. 30 years of experience in making it work. Section C. Section C is, again, an incredibly valuable section, but I would have to say that of all the sections in our entire program, because just like I'll tell you when ones are important, I'll tell you when ones aren't as important. There aren't any unimportant sections. But trends in business through 2000 through 2020, to me, is probably the least important section. But yet, there are people who will tell you it's the most important section. Why? Because it tells you how, it teaches you how to quickly identify what the trends are going forward. And that could be important, right? Because if you know where the trends are, you position yourself at the front of that trend and then let the wave carry you with it. So while no part of our program is unimportant, I still say this is the least important. Why? Because it doesn't matter what the trend is. Because I can show you, and we do in our program, ways to make a business successful when you're in a downtrend. Ways to make a business that's successful that's in a flat trend. Probably less important is ways to make a business successful when it's in an uptrend, because everybody thinks they know how to do that. But as unimportant or important as you may think this section is, it's complete. It teaches you about the baby boom bubble and what this incredible element of the demographic composition of the world, never mind just the United States. World War II affected the entire planet. And after World War II was over, every country experienced the baby boom bubble because the war was over and everybody got back to deferred baby making. And so there was an explosion in the birth rate in almost every country on the planet. And so as a result, there's this baby boom generation that what that generation needs and wants is an important part of what the trend in an economy is going to be. Look at healthcare right now. Why is healthcare such a big issue right now? Because the baby boomers are moving into the retirement age. They're moving into the age when they're demanding health services. So health services are going to be a phenomenal uptrend into the future because a simple demographic study tells us that people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s use a lot more health services than people did than when they were in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And so since the population bubble is now moving, this big bulge in the population is now moving into that older area, we know what people in those age groups need more of, and so we know where the trends are going. Now, this is only one aspect of what drives trends, but it's an indisputable one. The baby boom has always had what they needed in short supply. And their needs have governed where economies have gone for the last 60 years. And it's like night follows day. These are the things that are affecting the trends going forward. The post-9/11 world is very, very different. What affects our economy, how it affects our economy is different than it was. And so it has certain applications going forward and understanding them. And so I'm not going to go through all of these different types of factors here. But this section here, by the way, on consumers and what they buy and how consumers are defined, different types of consumers, people who buy for different reasons, the money-restricted consumer, the outer-directed consumer, the inner-directed consumer. See, all these people have different mindsets about what they buy, when they buy it, how they buy it. And the more you understand these things, the more you can target the functions of your business to directly appeal to those particular customers that are your target market. Understanding these things is essential to the success of your business. And they're all covered for you here in ways that are simplified, in ways that make it easy for you to understand, in ways that make it easy for you to use it in the planning stages of your business so that your business can be the maximum level of success that you can possibly make it. That's why we put these tools here for you. And these are the sections that sometimes people tend to not pay a lot of attention to. And that's why I keep stressing them here, because it's these early sessions that are laying the foundation for how you're going to make your business everything you want it to be. Very important part of the process. So again, these are the various types of consumers, and we get into who they are, why they buy, how they buy, when they buy, what has to happen to get them to become your customer instead of your competition's customer.